So the kinds of problems that homeless people face are, there's plenty of them. The system actually provides a lot of support for homeless people. So in some ways it's less the system than society as a whole, in particular homeless people almost themselves. So at the moment there are hostels in Oxford, both to when people first come in off the street, to deal with people who may be very chaotic, who may have a severe drug or alcohol problem. Then there's second stage housing, where once people feel like they're ready to move on, that they've gotten over most of their addiction or are able to deal with their financial problems, they can then move to housing called Julian housing. There are organizations to help people find work. There is a specialist medical center. So there's a lot of a lot of these organizations run other activities like teaching first aid or training in terms of safety in the workplace. It's a certificate that people need to be able to work on a construction site. IT skills. So there's all kinds of training as well for homeless people. I think the problem is often that homeless people don't love themselves, and so they don't think that they are valuable enough to take advantage of some of these activities. They will have probably had a bad home life. They may have mental health issues. They have a chaotic lifestyle on the whole, and a lot of that has to be overcome in order for people even to come once, much less regularly, to, say, a training course to help them get into IT. A lot of people are very wary of authority, aren't used to having a strict schedule. So, and just dealing with other people, sitting down and for, say, half an hour to discuss something or learn something is really strange for a lot of homeless people. This is not something that they're used to. So all of that stuff needs to be overcome. Then there's also alcohol and drug addiction, and more recently the legal highs, I understand, are often worse than even heroin addiction. So even though the stuff might be legal and very cheap, it can be seriously addictive and very, very harmful. And then there's also the fact that you have a lot of homeless people often living together. So if you've got somebody who doesn't deal well with conflict, and you have another person who doesn't deal well with conflict, and a third person, things escalate very rapidly. Or if someone is trying to come off their alcohol habit and then has a lot of friends who are still drinking regularly, that makes it really difficult for that person to get off the booze. So the final thing is probably that society really doesn't understand homelessness. I think it probably splits between the people who think that it's all there for the grace of God and I could be homeless the next day, or people who just think, oh, homeless people, they just ask for it, and why isn't that young man working?
If you'd like to get involved in the On Your Doorstep homelessness campaign, visit oydoxford.com, find us on Facebook or Twitter, or come along to our weekly term time meetings.